Laura Lynn with the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop here. Welcome to Long Arm Wednesday. We're working on, actually, what's something we've done in the past, it's kind of like one of my UFOs, is I think it was the star block or something like that. Anyways, we set it up, I did a little wall hanging with it. I'm finally going to finish the wall hanging, but I'm also going to add binding to it. But just on a little side note, before we get to that, we have some new fabrics in the shop. Over here is we have a very beautiful purple panel. I've got about 13 of them. And they're $10 each, that's Canadian, not including shipping. So if you're interested, let me know. And then I also have this, it's lovely. I can't wait to use it on something, let me tell you. So I have this one here, and then this one here is also from the Colorworks. It's called Fractured, and this one is called Color Strata. And I love them. So if you're interested in, let me know. We'll have them on the webpage probably within a week, but you can always just send me an email and we can figure it out. So I know you're interested. Let me know. So $10 each, 10, and 10. If you're interested, let me know, okay? I love it. I love color. And I think we can do a lot with this as a base and then building around it, especially for beginner quilters. You're not sure what to do, need inspiration. Boom, 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 there you go. So, hopefully somebody, I'd love to see what you do with that purple panel. I'm going to have to think of something to do with it for sure. I loved it, just the treat just made me, I love it. I love it. Okay, thank you, Munchkin. Okay, so now what we're going to do here, I have binding cut, 2.5 inches, folded in half, pressed, just what we normally do, okay? So I know probably putting binding on the long arm, you're like, what you doing? You can do it. It's not that difficult. Leave the last few steps up to your domestic machine. Sophie's waiting on the sidelines. And that's it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find a halfway point. I made it obviously longer than necessary. Okay. And then I go and move a little Walt out of the way here for a moment. And we are going to do some fun stuff in here, but we're going to sort this out first. Okay. So I kind of find my halfway spot. Lay it up here. I know I have more binding than necessary to go around my project because I forgot how, I didn't measure it, but I think this is a 12.5 inch block and then this is like a 5 inch square, or a 5 inch border. So we're going to go from this side up, do our little normal fold that we normally do, and this helps us so we can stitch to the back or like do the little hand stitch on the back. I like that. To me, it finishes off the project. You know what I mean? So we'll put this up here, we'll stitch, and we'll do, oh, sorry. I told Munchkin I would put the camera closer so you can see what I was doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew right along up here on this line right here. And then we're going to do our normal fold. You know, when you do your fold, you kind of do your little, your little pleat to make sure that you're kind of going for the other direction. So you stop about 1/4 inch away. You do that little fold. So it's nice and even. Okay. Make sure you got your points nice and even. And then we're just going to continue along, stitching all the way. Okay. And slow and steady wins the race. And then we'll just keep going and doing that little fold and tuck and keep going down on this side. So that's what we'll do. We'll just stitch along, right along here. Simple and easy, no big deal. And then do the little fold in there. And then that way it's ready, once stitched, to fold and stitch to the back. And boom, Bob's your uncle, right? Well, he was, until he passed away, but it's okay. He was an awesome man. All right, so we're going to work on this beautiful, I thought Father's Day is coming. I would like to do something for Pop in his new space that he's going to be creating downstairs, like a little shop zone. So I thought, something to hang up on there, it's got blues, it's got loons, it's got creams and tans and all sorts of fun colors. So let's do this first. Let's do the binding first, okay? Hopefully. All right, and you just want to come like we normally would do when machining is 1/4 inch away, okay? So to me, it's my little laser light is right in the center, right at that little tippy tip and straight down. So to me, from that laser light to this outer edge right here, that is 1/4 inch. Okay, so bring our little bobbin up from the bottom. And we're just going to take our time. Like I said, there's no rush. There's no race. There's nothing going on but us just focusing on what we need to do, and that's getting the binding on our project. I chose a small project so you can see a little bit more of how it goes on, but the same principle is the same for a bigger project, you know. So, okay, just lining it up, making sure, like I said, riding my foot. I could lock the channels if I wanted to, giving me my 90 and 0, but you know, sometimes it's easier just to follow the natural, sometimes not so perfect curves of a quilt. You know what I mean? So no point for channel locks. Okay, and just keep puttering on up. Like I said, it's not rocket science. Okay, and I'm just going to come all the way, not all the way, but you know what I mean. I'm going to come to about a 1/4 inch away, and I'm just going to come back a second. I'm going to stop. Okay, so now I'm going to do that fold. You know how we have to do that fold to make sure we're giving enough binding on the other side of this quilt so we can stitch it, so we can actually stitch it down to something, okay? So now it's had that little fold. Hopefully you can see that perfectly on the camera. Get the little bit, and then we're just gonna kind of not stitch on that little fold. We're gonna come back up and then come back over onto this side, okay? So let's just do that. Come back up on this side. Do our little fold. Make sure it doesn't have to be perfect, but let's just try our best, okay? Practice makes perfect, okay? And then we're just gonna do the same along across the top here, okay? Hopefully keeping, like I said, the back of my foot here is about a 1/4 inch away from where my laser dot is, okay? And then just putter on, okay? Putter on. I feel like we should be golfing. I'm not much of a golfer, but I do like mini golf, let me tell you. And I'm looking forward to, my girlfriend Sandra and I were supposed to go last year, but we didn't. We were going to take the Munchkins. But I think actually weather delayed us. But I'm very much looking forward to doing some fun stuff with Munchkins this year, that's for sure. I love mini golf. I'm not sure to make a really good golfer, but I'm not quite sure I see the point of chasing a little white ball around, but you know, to each their own. I like to sew. Sure, that's not for everybody. And it's really quite that easy. You know, like I say, you can put the channel locks on if you want. I'm gonna stop a little bit away here. Make sure I got enough of my tail to make sure I'm getting that little corner fold like we always do on our binding when we're going around our quilt, whether they're coming from the back to the front or the front to the back, whatever it needs to be. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure it's nice and even. Okay, so we'll fold that forward. We'll stitch on down again. Okay, and then fold that back. And then just come on down this way. Okay. Just lay it out. Okay, and then of course at the end there. So we'll stop there. You get the idea of how it goes. We just do the same as doing around the bottom two corners. And then when you go to lay them over each other, leave a space from one side and the other. And then if you go, like say if this was here, I'm just gonna like pretend here for a moment. Say this was your middle line here. So you can go like this, line it up, say this is where your crossover spot was. You can lay a thickness of the binding across so you know that when you go to do your little 45, there's enough room. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll lay it out and you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about, okay? So like you lay it across there. So you go and you go trim that extra bits off, making sure it was all lined up. And then you know you take those two bits together and you sew down and it fits perfectly. Honest to goodness, okay? So that's like literally the binding. It's a little bit more around the bottom side, but the whole principle is the same. And then like I say, you flip over and you and I trim it to whatever it is I want. If I wanted to, I could have done a thicker binding. I could have done like a 4 inches or something like that and left the batting and had enclosed the batting as well, you know what I mean? And then make it a really thick sort of binding border sort of thing. You know what I mean? You get it. All right, so now that is that. We've done that. Binding on the long arm. Okay, so what I had for these kind of blocks here, I kind of wanted to treat each one individually and just do a little free fun. So I was coming up from this corner here. This was my thought. I didn't, you know, chalk anything out or whatever. We're just going to wing it because that's who I am. It's off the belts. I want to go to this corner and I want to go to this corner. I want to come up and go to this corner and go to this corner and do the same again. And then fill the center in with circles, okay? Or you can fill in the little border that we just made. You could fill that in with circles. You know, I thought treat each square individually, okay? It comes right down there to that little point there. Do them backtrack up in between the little bubbles or circles and fill them in. I love circles. Circles is a fantastic go-to. You'll see that on lots of quilts of people who do free motion. It's either the circles, the back and forth, it's the swirl, it's the meander. Like, there's really not too much more than that, right? There's always fillers. So, and I had a fantastic time with doing the one we did, the half hexie, and then we turned it into a quilt. Yeah. Okay. So as for the triangle here, because you said I did this little kite sort of piece, was keeping in the same sort of tradition. I was coming down into a point, back to a point over here, giving a little bit of a curve there, and then filling in with some circles. Okay. So that's how I'm going to fill in those blocks. And I think it'll look awesome once done. Okay, so let's fill in. I'm using linen colored thread just because I thought it would show up more on the front than on the back. It's a very tan colored backing. It adds some weird brown marks on it, so I thought, well, I really couldn't chop it up for quilting. I'd have to be really so specific on what I was choosing, so I thought I'll just use it as the back to this wall hanging. It works for me. Okay. And hopefully you've had a chance to watch our live stream from Sunday's video of the Purple Lone Star. That was the second video we've shot. We had some technical difficulties between weather and you know, Boys Weekend and so on and so forth. So we're back on track now. I'm very excited. Next weekend we will finish it off for Mother's Day, and we're starting an hour earlier. That's 2 p.m. on Sunday, Mother's Day. Okay, so check us out there. Okay. All right, now I'm going to work down there, and then same deal. Pop around from the point to the point to the point to the point, and then come back up and do another round. And then just fill in with circles. Or you don't even have to fill in. You could do another echo. I mean, there's so many options out there. It's just, you know, your imagination is your only limitation. And just fill her in. It'd be pretty. It's got some movement and it's got some texture, and, you know, why not? Now, I could have solely built this up to be a quilt. You know, could add like 6 more borders and it would have been a quilt. But, you know, we kept it as a wall hanging to, you know, not everything has to be a quilt. And we had a lot of fun on our duffel bag on the weekend project. And last Long Arm Wednesday, we quilted it all up. It turned out beautiful. I was very happy with that. Okay, so that's pretty much what we're going to be going on here for these parts here. I want to show you what I'm going on here. Because of the loons and the whole water idea of it, I thought about doing like a little water wave. So I'll show you how I'm going to work it on the sides. and then maybe come up across the top here. So you're making it so it's not necessarily directional, but it frames out your project sort of thing, right? And if you know what a little doing water sort of thing is this little back and forth movements and giving it some sort of, you know, bit of a dimension. So, well, let's just start off here in this little corner here, nice near the seam here. Okay. And I'm just, you know, like this and that. You know, that sort of thing. I think, I'm not sure how to describe it, so that was the hard part. Just trying to make water, you know, if it's possible to make water with thread. So hopefully you can see that. And that's pretty much it. Just to kind of give it a little fun texture on the outside, right? And that is what I'm going to be doing to keep myself busy on a Wednesday. What are you guys going to be doing? Be creative how you fill it in, okay? Not everything has to be the same, okay? Big splashes, little splashes, big water, little water. I mean, you'll find things that are comfortable and easy for you to do, and then all of a sudden you've created this beautiful work of art. Just because it had the loons on it, I figured some water on the blue would be really quite pretty. So, if I'm wrong, oh well, not the first time or the last. So hopefully you can join us on Mother's Day for an extra long hour of a live stream on the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. And of course you can move your binding out of the way to get right in where you need to be. I mean, don't let it stop you. Fold it back, pin it back, whatever you need to do, okay? And now I'm going to try and go this way to fill in the whole watery theme as it was traveling around the quilt block, okay? Or the little quilt pattern. And that's how I'm going to be finishing it all off. So I hope you guys have a fantastic Wednesday, and if you're interested at all in any of the new panels that I picked up here for the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, please let me know. Just make a post to the our page. We will, like I said, Pop's got some trips to go on, so he's going to be busy for the next few days, so it'll all have to be like, you know, via the message. Okay. All right, so we'll keep it there. So thanks everybody for watching and liking and subscribing, and help support us on Patreon. We really, really appreciate it. It just helps us to know that you appreciate the content that we put out and the quality of content that we put out, and you reward us with that from Patreon. So thank you very much, and please look forward to your bonus video. It's coming up very shortly. Okay, thanks everybody. Big hugs from the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, and we'll see you on Weekend Project. Take care everybody. Bye-bye. Enjoy your Wednesday.